Where to go? All right, we're back, guys. Rachel Smith here with Real with Rachel. I'm a local Maryland real estate agent with RE/MAX. This is take 2. We just tried to go live again, and somebody named Rachel Smith hit the complete button before it was time to complete our show. So I'm so excited. My childhood friend Tia Bryant from For Love and Design is here with us to talk all things staging and design work. So hello, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Yes.
So, with that said, let's get back into it. We were talking staging topics, and some 3 key things that we were talking about is, first, 1, declutter and clean, 2, keep it a neutral palette, and 3, depersonalize. And we were on the topic of depersonalizing, but let's take it back a little bit and talk about decluttering and how to make sure that when a buyer is entering your home, they feel like they can visualize their items there and that they're not getting distracted with other people's pictures or trophies or awards. That's what we were talking about. So we're going to pick right back up where we left off, and I'm going to let you take the lead.
Yeah, so I think it's really important as a buyer or when you're selling your home to understand that you want to appeal to the largest mass of people.
Correct.
And so it's all about marketing. You have to not be sensitive about taking your personal items out because really you want somebody to be able, like you said, to envision that they're in that space or that space is for them.
Yes.
And they want to live there. So you have to clean, you have to declutter, you have to depersonalize.
I usually say try and make it look like a model home, like when the house was first built or something along those lines where you're staging it for people who feel like it's all neutral and where they can say, oh, you know what, my picture right there, my family portrait would look so good right there, but they're not getting distracted with other items from that, and then that takes away, that makes that house more personable to the person that owns it.
Yeah.
So it's hard to get away from that. And then sometimes things like we were talking about having degrees up in your office, sometimes those things can help highlight, but that's also something that you might want to talk to your professional about, whether it be your realtor or your stager, as to if that could help or hurt. Because like you said before I decided to mess up the broadcast, that can be putting your personal information out there for all to see. And, that could also create a stigma, like if it's a rival school or something that's up there on the office. That's something that could be a turnoff too. So decluttering, obviously that's going to be the biggest key thing. I always say less is more. If you question it, and this is what I say to all my sellers, if you question it, then take it away.
Yeah.
Or you can always send me a text with a screenshot and say, hey, I don't think I like this here. What should I do? And I'll usually tell you to put it away. With that said, the second thing was neutral palettes.
Yes.
So, are we talking earth tones, grays, whites? What are you seeing right now?
Yeah, I think it's all of the above. I think what you want to do is your furniture pieces need to be the most neutral. Like you're using the creams, you're using the grays, and then your accessories are your accents, the golds and the blues and the colors that actually make it pop. Yeah, so for me, it's really big to think about like what does the room want to express? So in the bedroom, you want something calming. So you maybe want some more blues, or you may want some greens. You don't want red. It's too stimulating. Unless that's you, but
red.
For the most
I've
part,
seen some where it's like you see this bright red couch, and that's cool. If that's your jam, that's all you. You do you, boo-boo. But at the same time, it is so distracting. All I can focus on is that red couch, and it's taking away how big the space is, how tall the ceilings are, things like that.
Yeah.
I'm watching for comments and questions because we are live on Mid-Atlantic TV, so I'm just checking that out. So if you see me looking around, that's what I'm doing. So that is, I think, the biggest thing. What do you think about neutral colors as far as walls go? What do you think is the biggest thing that you tell? Do you take into consideration the floor colors, cabinet colors?
I think so. I think painting needs to be a clean palette. I think it's soft colors, neutral colors. Yeah, like if you're gonna do grays, it's like a baby gray or a pale gray.
If you're gonna, get turned off to gray, and my whole house is gray.
But that was really popular, and it's still popular. I think you have to think about the background, the backdrop, and not drawing the eye to the wall, because that's not the purpose. It's just to see the wall. To have a big bright popping color, unless you're using a wallpaper, you're accenting something specific, like the windows or something like that, then you kind of want to draw your eye to that. So color can make a difference there. So
it can be so hard because then you see people that just love their pop of wall color, their accent wall. Now, if somebody has an accent wall, let's say it's all neutral already, and they're like, hey, you know what, we want to do a little jazzy accent wall, whether they're selling or not, do you suggest that they do something that's super bold or just meh, maybe a little bit more muted of an accent?
you know what? Honestly, I think I would accent anything with accessories, whether maybe like you're doing a mirror or something like that, because I think you want to take your style to your next house. And so I think, like you said, less is more. So I think just accenting it with like a piece or something more that you can move or, take away or add to. I think that's more important. Your color is literally just a backdrop.
That's the word I was looking for. I'm like, I mean, it's more just kind of like a backdrop. Like, you know how, and all my clients know, I like to usually compare houses to makeup, right? So I would say that that's more like the foundation. And then you want to do your pops with the mascara and the lipstick.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? I mean, hey, that's actually a pretty good way to think of it, right, guys? You know how I am with my makeup comparisons. With that said, so depersonalize. Do you think that people should take away like their trophies and their accomplishments and things like that? Or do you think that maybe having an accent wall with those is acceptable? Or do you think even having things like that is just too much?
I honestly think that we're marketing the property. And so for me, it's not about showcasing, all of your accomplishments. It's about what's going to attract the buyer to click on your picture, to be invested in seeing their things in that space. So maybe if your office space has a nice bookshelf where somebody can envision my trophies going on there versus your trophies, I think that's what you want to do. You want to showcase the space and you want to attract someone to click on that picture and call the realtor or get out there and actually see it in person.
Because it's typically, I think it's 8 seconds that a buyer is going to be able to decide whether or not they're interested in that property, and 99.9% of the time it's going to be on a consumer website, whether it be Zillow, Trulia.com, Realtor.com, one of those fabulous sites. You guys are looking through the pictures, you're going to make up your mind immediately. It's that instant gratification visual aspect of the brain. Yeah. So you really want to knock it out of the park and make sure that your first impression is going to take over and be key. So, because you don't get a second chance at a first impression, so that's going to be really, really key. And I'm watching, and it looks like something's going on here. Oh, we got an ad. That's why. I'm like, what is that? All right. So the next question I wanted to ask was 2021 trends. We all like to stay a little bit ahead of the game. So you know me, when I'm clickety-clacking on my little website, I love Houzz, H-O-U-Z-Z.
Yeah.
I'm addicted to that website. I'm always looking for, okay, what's coming out next year? What can I be ahead of the game with? What's going on in that aspect? Are there any 2021 trends that you see that are coming in the future that maybe people and buyers and even just homeowners that are doing redesigning can start to get in tune with now?
So for me, I think the contemporary look is still very popular. We were at a place where we were doing a lot of that farmhouse look, and that was like super, super popular. I think that we're kind of being contemporary. We're going into a little bit of modern, but like a lot of soft edges. And for me as a stager, I'm looking at like furniture trends a lot of the times, and I'm looking at what furniture stores or what buyers are really buying. I think one of the things that I do on my Instagram is like I'm always posting pictures of like new trends in furniture and seeing where I get the most likes, because that's what's going to influence what I choose to put in a space, because I already know people are attracted to that look. And so nowadays I'm seeing a lot of like furniture that has more of the curvature and the softness, and there's a mix between textures and like plants and greenery and things like that. So I think overall the trends are always going to kind of move towards comfort, coziness, especially when it comes to a house. Like that's your space of being comforted and cozy, and
that's their getaway. I mean, after these long hours, and then obviously even more prevalent during COVID. Everybody's at home, so they all want to make sure that that surrounding area is going to be comfortable and suit their design style, and they're going to want to be in that space. Because that's true for me. Like with my office, I'm here all the time. If I'm not out in the streets hustling doing real estate, I want to make sure that, hey, do I like it and do I feel comfortable? I've changed it like a couple times now. Everybody knows that I'll like completely do an overhaul, and I think it's time for another one.
Call me.
With that said, okay, I've been dying to ask you this question. Antique bronze black hardware, chrome, or gold. What do you gravitate towards and why?
Okay, so I really have loved just like the sleek black look, like along window panes or like, highlighting just even, the handles on doors and things like that. I don't know. I gravitate towards that contrast, especially if it's like kind of on a white with like that.
The white, that's what all of our projects we're doing lately is the white
gosh.
with like a matte black. And we'll do it with the hardware. And then don't forget the hinges.
Yeah.
If you guys are changing out your door hardware, that's a pretty cheap thing to do. But don't forget the hinges. And if you can't find it at Lowe's or Home Depot, typically Amazon, and we get a lot of our stuff off of Amazon, you can do. But I've seen that a lot lately, and it really does help pop.
It does.
And it hides dirt.
Yeah. Black definitely does.
Because me with my million kids, they're just touching everything. So, I've been dying to ask that question. Like, all right, what's happening? Because you're starting to see this light gold, rose gold color come back. And it's like, do we love it? Are we like, are we accepting it? Or I feel like it's going to be for specific properties.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I think all design elements might have to fall underneath that category of, okay, is it going to make sense for this property? I don't think having some rose gold handles on a farmhouse in the middle of 300 acres might not be the jam, but maybe more towards DC and those metropolitan areas where you see more contemporary styles, that might be a little bit more efficient. All right, so the next one I wanted to ask you was, what is your like the one thing that bothers you the most, your pet peeve when you go into properties and you're like, oh my God, or you see pictures in the MLS, okay, oh my gosh, I wish they would have just done this, or I wish they would have just done that. I'll tell you mine, you tell me yours. Okay, what's yours first?
So I think for me, like if I was to look at pictures on the MLS, I think it's sizing. I think putting furniture that is either too small for the space or too big for the space, it to me is just
I didn't think about that at all.
Yeah, it's the size of things, the scale of things. Or pet peeve for me, and this is just maybe my designer mind, is like if I see a living room with a tiny little rug, and if nothing else is anchored, like you need get an oversized rug. Let anchor your space. That's my thing. Like my friends will send me pictures and be like, hey, what do you think of my living room? I'm like, that rug, that 5x7 is too small. Okay? 8x10. 8x10.
Okay, so I passed the test. And I go through mine. I like to get my stuff like of Amazon or Home Goods, or I got a plethora of other stuff. But for me, having 5 children, I try and kind of keep it on a less expensive side because I know I'm going to be pitching it in 6 months.
Yeah.
Or what we do is we'll start, like I'll pick out a nice rug and I'm like, okay, I'm going to put it up in the bedroom. And then once that gets a little worn down, then it comes down here. And then once that's kind of, you can see it's had its time, then it goes down in the basement. It like cycles through, And now I'm starting to put some of my runners outside, like on the covered porch. I'm like, I still like it, but it's too dirty to be inside, so I'm going to put it out on the porch. So it'll probably last for like 2 months.
Here's a tip too. If you have that 5x7 rug and you love it, you don't have to toss it. Just get a bigger neutral rug and stack it underneath and then put it so that it just kind of looks like there's layers to it. Yes, and that way you're just not, you're not tossing something that you spent money on, especially if it's still good.
That's the thing, because trends change, and then you're like, you know what, or if you get a different piece of furniture and you want to accent it differently, it's like, but I still love it. I just don't know where to put it. That's an awesome idea.
Yeah.
Because you see that on front porches now, where you'll see the big welcome mat and then something smaller, whether it's like the buffalo check or something. It was a trend. So that's a good idea. You can do that inside too.
Yeah, definitely. I'm about layering layers.
Yeah. Wow. Now I'm trying to think of what room I could do that in. My husband's probably like, darn it, here we go, another rug. Okay, so my pet peeve, guys, please take note of this, everybody. The recycle bins. The blue recycle bins. All my photographers know. In fact, just yesterday, I was out there huffing a blue recycle bin out of the shot. Now, that's for our territory, but recycle bins and trash bins in general drive me insane. Especially like the front pictures, when that very first picture that you're seeing, if you see a blue recycle bin, that's a no bueno thing. Just any pictures, just hide it. Even regular trash cans. I'm kind of like,
it's not a clean, finished look, and nobody wants to see that.
Nobody wants to see that business. We all know you all got trash.
Yeah.
We don't need to see it. No. We don't need to see it. It's all good. All right, so let's jump into the tips and tricks.
Yay.
Tia's tips and tricks. And then I want to know where you get your inspiration from because I love your design. I'm going to show your Instagram page and your webpage, of course. In fact, while we're talking about tips and tricks, let's look at your webpage. Boop, boop. There it is for Love and Design. Love, love, love. So you do both. You can do staging, also design work, but you can do staging for owner-occupied and for vacant properties. And also, I think your contact page is over here, so I was rearranging myself here. Contact, boom, there you go. How else can people find you? Can they email you or call you directly?
Yes, so you can definitely email me because it's pretty simple. It's just my first name, Tia, at forloveanddesign.com. Or you can get me on Instagram. I'm Miss Makeover 101. At Miss Makeover 101. Yeah. There's my...
Oh, I love it. And the fam. Oh, your family's so beautiful. So yeah, here's some stuff, some of your work that you've done. There's some of you. I mean, you gotta keep it right. Oh, I love this one. With the ceiling like that. That's awesome.
You see the black. You see the black trim. See it in the bathroom?
That's a
right
big,
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big thing. It
Should I
draws my
click on
eye.
it? It's not gonna like take me away.
I mean, who would not want to be in that shower? Like, would you come out? I don't know.
Probably not. Depends on who else is there. But with that said, what is your tips and tricks? It is my show. What are your tips and tricks?
So let's say, okay, so one of the things that I think is a really cool tip is when you're doing, let's say, your living room, try not to put everything against the wall. I think people are always putting something against the wall thinking that that's how things have to go. No, cozy it up. Bring things bring your sofa off the wall. It's okay. You know what I mean? I think, like I said, the rug, have a bigger rug and let your pieces anchor on the rug. I think that's really important and it gives you a more finished look. And if your space isn't big enough for, you know, just all of the furniture just sitting together, kind of tilt it, you know what I mean? Kind of angle things. It doesn't have to just be square, 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 square.
That was the thing that I kind of got sucked into at first, you know, being in the new house. And it's like, well, wait a second. You almost make it look smaller when you're pushing things all up against the wall.
Yeah.
But if you, like you said, pull it out and give it a little bit more dimension.
Yeah.
Then that makes sense as well. And what about turning couches? Let's say you have a square room versus having it up or even off the wall. What about the kitty corner situation? Are you seeing some more of the cornering and things like that?
Definitely.
Angles.
Use your corner, angle things because you want to make it almost like you're having a conversation with, you know, people on your sofa and everybody's kind of turning in. It doesn't always have to be facing like the fireplace or something like that. Just be kind of risky a little bit and make it functional for your space. I think sometimes people, you know, do and design in a way that's not functional.
That's the other thing. That's like one of my little things that I struggle with trying to, like, I want it to look good, but it also has to make sense. Yeah, for the space. All right, so with that said, where do you get your inspiration? We all have one.
So I think one of my favorite designers right now, her name is Shay McGee. She, beautiful. Like her line is also in Target, like her actual McGee & Co. A little bit more on the pricier side, but she has made a very, you know, price-friendly version of her furniture on Target.
I'm going to Target.
As if you need to go to Target for anything else and not spend $1 million. I don't know, that's me. Like I'll go in for one thing and I redecorated my whole house with Target.
We all know how Target
is a black hole.
I just did a little bit of staging for one of my listings, for one of our remodels my husband and I partnered on. So he did the remodeling and then I listed it. Sold in one day, by the way. With that said, it was during COVID and nothing was open. So we didn't have time to pull anything offline and have it shipped in. So we were like, all right, what's open? Lowe's, Home Depot, Target.
That's the story of my life right now.
That was pretty much it. I'm going to go back one more time just so you guys can see McGee & Co. And again, you can find this on Target, which is very, very awesome. And then Wallpaper is making a comeback, right? Are we seeing some more trends with Wallpaper?
Definitely. I think it's becoming a big trend again, you know, really as accents and just kind of bringing character into spaces. And I think this is more for your own interior design. You know, when it comes to doing it sometimes for certain properties, it might not be the best thing.
Maybe like an accent wall.
Yeah.
I'm seeing Wallpaper more and more in bathrooms.
Oh yeah, 1000%. People are bored
especially
with
like
just plain colors.
Yeah, we're getting sick of. Now, with that said, with paint colors, do you typically suggest a matte or a little bit of a sheen? Is there a type of paint that you're like, you know what, this makes it pop a little bit more?
I'm thinking, in terms of like marketing and pictures, you don't want something too shiny where when the camera like takes a click, it's reflecting off of it. Yeah. So I say you go with maybe like a matte kind of semi gloss. But you also want something that when you touch that wall, you're not leaving marks.
That's what we did. So we decided in our stairwell, because you all know I've got a million kids with the little fingerprints coming down. We were like, look, let's put up some trim and then let's paint it with that sheen so that when you're going to clean up after them, it just wipes right off. So
definitely.
It's super nice. So that's something like in hallways and stairwells and things like that that might be optimal.
Good investment.
Yeah, but I do see Wallpaper making a trend. Now I'm going to have to go around and figure out what wall I'm going to put Wallpaper on, and I'll have to keep you all posted. But I think that is it.
Yay.
Is there anything else you wanted to add?
No, but if you need a designer, you know what? Call me.
Yeah.
I think just taking, because a lot of people do kind of want to do things on their own, but sometimes it's really nice to have someone to kind of take that off your plate and help you make those decisions.
And you offer different levels of services where
Absolutely.
you can come in and do the full Monty, do all the furniture, take it all over, say, hey, here's the keys, let me know when you're done, ready for photos. Or you can do consultations, maybe a stop by, hey, move this piece, this piece that you already own. Or, hey, what's your budget? We'll spend $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 buying this couch and this, and we'll make that our focal point and do things around. So that's stuff that you can also do. So there's different tiers. So if you guys are ever interested, please reach out. And when you're ready to buy or sell, you know where to find me. Next week, we're going to have Rich from JK Moving on. So I'm super elated about that.
Nice.
Yeah. And I will go ahead and leave her contact information below. And thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you have a great week and a great day. All right. Bye. Thank you. I'm going to have to come up with a dance. I'll like a dance on and then like a dance off. Yeah, we're going to have to do that.